Are you really healing, or are you just coping? That's the question. And what exactly is the difference between the two, you may ask? Well, I'd love to share that with you today. Let's get down to the core of it. Essentially, coping says, I'm not going to change myself or my environment in a profound or fundamental way, but I will do certain things to make it easier or more bearable to live in a certain environment that may not be healthy or authentic. I'm going to avoid the real work. I'm going to avoid looking at my shadow. I'm going to avoid truly processing and confronting the ugly parts of myself or the shadows of my past. I'm going to focus on the now, continue to keep all that stuff shut in a locked door, a locked closet, and just say, what can I do to make myself more comfortable while all that stuff is all locked up in there? It pretty much unconsciously or subconsciously says, whether a person realizes it or not, I'm going to keep all that shit locked in that cabinet. I don't want to go through it. Let me just find ways to make myself more comfortable knowing that that stuff is in there and it's causing my pain. What can I do to make myself more comfortable without actually doing the work, the deeper work, the ugly stuff? It focuses on the behaviors, the situations, the environment, the effects. And coping does not require a person to confront everything that's locked up in that cabinet in order to cope. Coping allows for that. Coping says, don't change, don't integrate, don't confront. Keep all that intact, and let's just try to find ways to put little band-aids on the deeper wounds. Cycling or circling through the same problems over and over and over again while not addressing the deeper issues or the deeper truths that whatever you're coping around is trying to show you. If this applies to you, let me preface this by saying, or maybe I should have prefaced this before I started saying, but let me say now that I am not saying this with judgment. I'm saying this as a truth bomb. If the shoe fits, wear it, but there's no shame in any of this. There's no shame. And we will come back to why there's no shame in that. Okay, we're gonna come back to this later on. Healing on the other side though, in the meantime, before we come back to that, let's just talk about what healing is in comparison. Healing is like, you know what? I understand that my discomfort, my depression, my anxiety, my whatever issues that I'm having, whatever behaviors, even circumstances in my life are a direct reflection or consequence of everything that's locked up in that cabinet. So, I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna see what's inside, and we're gonna go digging through there and excavating that cabinet and letting some shit go. Maybe putting some new things in there with a little more structure, a little more intentionality, and seeing how that influences everything as a result. Everything in life is a cause and effect. And if I don't like the effects of something, that means that I would like to understand the cause, the deeper causes. Not just the surface level excuses, right? Not just, I have a genetic chemical imbalance in my brain. But why do I have a genetic chemical imbalance in my brain? Is it because there's a generational pattern in my family? A generational belief? Generational approach to life? Generational scarcity mindset? Maybe. One says I have agency. The other says I'm a victim of circumstance. One confronts truth, the other ignores it. When your self-concept changes, and you're able to confront those ugly, ugly parts of yourself that are so worthy of love, by the way, that the entire world around you begins to shift, and it's no longer about how can I make myself more comfortable while I ignore the reality of my discomfort and how it's rooted in misalignment, illusion, avoidance of truth, avoidance of discomfort, stagnation, and so on, but rather create a life that is built and rooted in authenticity, consciousness, intentionality, abundance. Because then you don't need to cope anymore. Because then your life directly reflects back to you your inner clarity and peace that you cultivate from the inside out. From going through that cabinet and getting rid of all the shit that's in there that's not yours to carry. Coping has a place. Not everyone has the capacity to face their truth and their darkness at any moment in time. And in fact, there are certain souls on this planet that chose to walk a life of survival consciousness. That means that they signed a contract to come onto this planet, into this body, and never face their truth. Or very, very minimally face their truth. There's no better or worse. But there are some people who signed a contract and said, that's all I'm here to do. Hi. Not everyone's nervous system can handle the truth. Accessing truth requires confrontation of illusion. And if a person's self-concept is entirely and fundamentally rooted in illusion, that's incredibly painful. Inexplicably painful to confront. It essentially is the process of realizing, oh my God, the way that I've been looking at the world is wrong. Do I know anything? At any age, it doesn't matter what age you are, to have that confrontation is absolutely terrifying. And not just in a mental level or an egoic level, but to the nervous system. So there are people who will spend their lives looking for coping mechanisms because that's just simply not a reality. And I'm going to leave you with this question today. Where in your life are you just coping? Putting little band-aids on bigger wounds. Even though you might actually be ready to start truly healing, peeling off those little band-aids and stitching up those deeper wounds, tending to those deeper wounds, facing the depth of those deeper wounds, those shadows, all the stuff in those cabinets. I will definitely be speaking more to this topic. So if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about how to heal and truly face those parts of yourself that may be holding you back and integrate them so you can truly free yourself and move towards conscious creation, then please give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment below, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this, because lots more to come on that. Thank you for watching. I will talk to you soon. Bye.